Sup, Nerdmigos, and the Jive Talking Nerd John Norgroup. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review Jive. It's that many. Same bat time, same bat channel, that kind of thing.
We watched Mulan.
We watched
Disney's
2020's Mulan. Okay, we're gonna get this out of the way. My dad bought it, so that's why we watched it.
Otherwise, we were gonna wait.
We were not gonna go out there to watch it.
Yeah.
We weren't gonna pay extra money for it. And having seen it, I can confidently say, yeah, it's not worth it. Don't spend the money.
It's definitely.
This is what we're gonna do. Spoiler free right now. It's a fucking horrible piece of shit. Don't spend your money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Okay. From now on, we're just going to talk spoilers because I don't care about this movie and it's a fucking waste of time.
Also, it's basically the same thing as the cartoon.
Well, it's not. It's missing and adding a lot of various weirdness.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, let's get this out of the way. They didn't do any songs.
Yeah, this movie was lacking in fun.
Yeah. They were
form.
basically like, well, people didn't like the songs in Aladdin, so let's just not do songs for Mulan. And it made the movie, like,
shit.
Very serious. Like a very serious and somber tone. Almost like they're trying to go for an Oscar nomination on this movie. Yeah. That's how serious it is.
It's just boring. Okay,
boring,
there's really nothing fun or enjoyable in this movie. It's weirdly like brightly colored. Everything's like very vivid.
Everything's like very bright,
like very
colors.
vivid, which is weird. And like,
there's some oddly placed CGI. Like there's this phoenix bird that like appears throughout the movie to clue you into like moments where Mulan is like coming into her own or whatever.
Touching spirit powers.
It's just like Phoenix, first of all, is like a little uncanny valley because they clearly wanted it to look sort of realistic, but then also
still
not.
Like traditional.
Still like traditional,
but
also still like a cartoon.
They were trying to make something traditional look realistic, and I think they just kind of didn't hit the mark on it. But the whole thing is there's also like a spider that's CGI that's very
there's like
looking.
A weird CGI spider scene. It's quite odd.
It has all the beats of Mulan, right? It has all the beats. It hits all the notes, right? They say enough of the words, but it's arranged in a dumb way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, visually, it's very pretty. The costume design, the cinematography is great. Yeah. The locations that they shoot everything is really cool.
It's very pretty.
We understand that, like, a lot of this is filmed, like, where Mulan is, like, supposed to be from. So, like, that was kind of cool, like, looking at, like, the vistas and stuff. But some of the stuff doesn't make sense. Like, at one point in time, Mulan is chasing these dudes all dressed in black, like ninjas. But not ninjas. And she is in this, like, big, wide open, high desert prairie with, like, big old mountains on either side. And all of a sudden, you blink, and she's in this, like, sulfur pool area
or something.
With, like, all these gases. And let me tell you, like, first of all, sulfur is the thing that makes eggs smell bad, like when eggs smell bad. So sulfur is a smell that humans just are like not okay with, and it is actually a pretty noxious gas, and you can kind of die.
Yeah,
from that. So she has this like big standoff in this like sulfur pool thing, and you're just like, okay, well, like this is cool looking, like this is not super realistic, fine, but like whatever. And then during this, there's this like it's like a fight scene that she has with the witch, who I think is probably the best character in the whole movie, but she's like doing this fight scene with this witch, and she has to like go across these like sulfur pools, and there's areas where the sulfur has like hardened, much like how an ice pool, you know, how it would be ice on top of like a lake.
I also don't know that sulfur
and it
pools
cracks,
do that.
And you feel like they're gonna do this thing about like, oh, it's gonna crack and somebody's gonna fall through. They're just like showing how carefully they have to walk because it's cracking underneath them, and you're waiting for that payoff, like, oh, it's gonna crack underneath and somebody's gonna fall and there's gonna be a struggle or whatever, and you don't get that. And that's basically an allegory for the whole movie.
Yeah, this movie, it just... So, like, they added the witch, which was cool, right? But
dude, she was badass.
But like
her look, her magic. I want to know more about this witch.
Yeah. So there's no distance in this movie.
Yeah,
everything is just as close as it needs to be for the plot. So
and some of the stuff is like very far away.
Yeah,
like
it's
where
bananas.
Mulan is,
how fast she's moving. I mean, like I don't know.
Where,
I guess maybe like
the Forbidden
weeks
City
are passing.
Is. I mean, there's a point where she has to go from the Forbidden City to her home, and they're like very, very far away. Like, we're talking, like, for those of us, like, stateside, like, this is like, if you were to drive from, like, Santa Monica Pier to, like, I don't know, wherever you drive to in the East Coast, you know, at the end of, like, Route 66, whatever that trip is. You know, it's a super long, like ways away. In a car, it would take you a couple of days.
Yeah.
On a horse, it's gonna take you longer.
Well, it's just that like there's not a lot of logical consistencies in this movie with regard to like distance and time, anything like that. But also it's like they build up consequence and then that consequence basically just like goes away because it's time for the next scene to happen, you know? And like visually it was fun.
Well, there's not a lot of like tension
fights,
or build up in most
the fights were interesting. Some of the fights were interesting. But some of them just weren't. There were a couple of fights with Mulan where the camera was just like in her face, and then like in the other person's face, and then like in her face, and it's just like. But
it was like all blurry.
Yeah, there's a lot of like post.
Yeah, there's a lot of post production there
on it, so it's very like Instagram filtery, which is weird.
Yeah,
and like. So, okay, so, like, the big thing at the end of the movie is that the witch, like, helps Mulan by, like, so the witch tells Mulan where the emperor is, and then, like, the witch goes and confronts the, bad guy, whatever. And he, like, fires an arrow at Mulan, and the witch, like, turns into a bird and, like, gets in the way of the arrow and gets hit by the arrow and dies. And you're like, oh, okay, that's not an emotional scene because, one, literally up until right now, the witch has been, like, super bitch to Mulan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because they're like, enemies, it's fair.
Trying to kill her, but, like,
definitely
not really,
trying to kill her, right? But then also, like we've seen Mulan just dodge arrows whilst riding a horse, in full armor.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen her, like do all kind of shit like that, right? And then the whole fight goes down, and that's just whatever. That's just...
Yeah, the end fight
Crouching
with
Tiger,
Mulan
Hidden Dragon
and, like,
adjacent.
the main bad guy is actually kind of whatever.
It was
like,
boring.
Very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the fight itself was pretty boring, except for, like, a couple of parts.
Well, and, okay, so... That fight is happening up, like, at the top of this bamboo structure because they're building this new thing or whatever on the outskirts of town, right? And he has the Emperor, like, tied up high to, like, kill the Emperor. And, of course, it's some sort of big, elaborate Bond, like, villain sort of plan to kill the Emperor or whatever. But, like, when you think about it, why would he be putting the Emperor up high like that if he could just kill the Emperor and then just, like, walk him around, like, walk his head around? That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Because in the Mulan movie, as far as I'm aware, he had the plan to kill the Emperor up high like that on display to show the people... Like, hey, look, I'm killing your emperor. But that's how gangster I am.
But in the movie, they make it so that,
it's so that way there's not extra guards there.
Yeah.
And it's, like, deserted and it's away from town and all that. So it's like, so you're constantly having this, like, look at this thing that we're doing, but, like, we're writing it off because of the, just because whatever, we need to just do it this way for it to fit the plot. Or whatever the fuck. I mean, the whole movie really felt like they were just constantly writing themselves out of corners. You know? Like, it's just a totally dislocated feeling movie. And, like, you know, and then, of course, that whole fight happens, and, like, at the very end, the fucking bad guy's, like, fell a big distance, and grabs a bow and arrow, and fires an arrow up at the Emperor, and Mulan's like, no, like reaches out to go get it, and of course she misses it, and the Emperor just like catches that shit in midair, right?
Like a badass.
And it's like, okay, well, I mean, then why did the witch bird lady have to die if people are just dodging and catching arrows like it's no big fucking deal?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's that kind of thing where they're just like basically stepping on each other's feet. No, there wasn't. Nothing really happened in this movie. Like it just everything you never felt attached to any of these characters.
Yeah.
You never had any scenes where people were really like bonding or getting to like closer together or whatever. This movie just sort of like exists.
Well, and you
just
didn't
have
even
to
really get a chance to like bond with Mulan as a character, right? Like basically Mulan as a character has 0 flaws. Like she's, you know, she doesn't show.
But she also has 0 personality.
Vulnerability. There's no personality. There's not really even any rapport with the other guys in the army, which is one of the fun things.
Or conflict. I mean, this is the thing: is that like she's doing these things that are. It's sort of this movie's doing this thing where it's telling us that like it's like girls can't be in the army, and then she's in the army, and then she proves herself. And so everything's all right. And it's like, well, and like girls can't be warriors, but like she's a warrior. And it's not like girls can't be warriors and then she learns to become a warrior. It's like it's telling us girls can't be warriors, showing us she's a warrior, and then at the end patting itself on the back like, hey, remember when we said girls can't be warriors? I guess we were wrong, right? And it's like, are 2 different departments working on this movie? What is happening right now? It's just the movie is so just an incomplete thought, right? There's things that exist in this movie that aren't explored or that are just clearly in it because we need some sort of allegorical reference to the cartoon to like shut those people up. And because it didn't have any of the fun or any of the jokes or any of the friendship or anything like that, the times where it was trying to be funny, which were few and far between, fell fucking dead flat. And the times when it was trying to be serious fell flat because you had no connection to these people. They were just these people. He had one joke. It wasn't funny. He had one action thing. It didn't matter. Because, you know, it's like one guy fires an arrow, he got it. And then like immediately the next scene, everybody's doing it. So... yeah. I don't remember it being a deal for him.
I feel like if they took the time in building, like if they took the time that they spent showing us these beautiful vistas and like having like music in the background happening, because there's a lot of these like wide vista shots, music, nothing else happening. You're just like watching someone ride a horse for a really long time. You know, I feel like if they took those and took some of those out, then they could have replaced that with actually building rapport with the audience, building rapport with characters, developing these characters, really just kind of like making us care. So, I mean, this is another Disney live action movie that just falls absolutely flat on its face.
It misses the point. The point isn't the story of Mulan. The point is that you built a character that people fell in love with in a universe and a story that people fell in love with. And it's the same thing with Lion King. And it's the same thing with all of these. It's like, dude, I'm not asking you to make a shot-for-shot remake of whatever Disney movie, right? And did Aladdin have problems? Yes. But it tried some stuff, and I'm going to respect it for what it tried.
Yeah.
Some of it, not great. I think the inclusion of Bollywood stuff was a great idea, right? But at least it had some fun, right?
This had no fun.
This had no fun.
There was no fun.
It was missing all of the fun. And, fine, there wasn't a talking dragon for there to be jokes.
I mean, that's
whatever.
Fine.
I don't care about that, right? But it's like, it didn't have the music. It didn't have any of the jokes. It didn't have any of the character development or any of the rapport. You never felt like Mulan. I mean, Mulan was just a person in this. It never felt like she was some sort of big main character. She was just somebody who things happened to.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know. The movie was a letdown. It was awful. This was horrible.
I would give this 1 star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
It's super pretty. The actors did a great job. like everybody was badass and like the kung fu fighting was quite kung fu fighting.
Yeah.
But like
they weren't given a lot to work with, and that really.
But yeah, I mean, in reality, it was just this movie was like it felt rushed and at the same time way longer than I wanted it to be, which is just bananas.
Yeah.
But whatever. Either way. Like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Ring the bell.
Just don't
do
pay
that.
$30 for Mulan. It's totally not worth it.
Watch the cartoon. It's better anyway.
Yeah.
I've been John Norcrow. This has been Wife. We watched Mulan 2020. This is Review Jive. Whatever the fuck. Yeah. Don't watch Mulan. It's awful. Fuck that movie.